Hey, what's up? Joe in Vegas back with another review. You know, I've been doing this a long time. I've been going to concerts since I'm like 12 years old, and there's certain guys and certain bands and certain women that I've just never seen for whatever reason. They either don't come around a lot or just bad scheduling and bad timing. Last night, I got to see a real icon, especially for me in my childhood. I'm 47 years old. You know, I was a kid right when that Mellencamp era, that MTV, those first kind of videos were really starting to take off, and he really was becoming this kind of symbolic rock and roller. You know, and then when MTV came around, it was more than just the music. It was the music and the looks for the first time really started to matter more, and he kind of checked all the boxes. He was, you know, this American, small town, good looking, blue jean, white t-shirt, guitar playing rock and roller, and it was awesome. It was cool. I mean, I don't know too many people in his. I think the only one I kept thinking of last night. I never really tied them together, but you know, him and Springsteen have a similarity about them. They're just really authentic and really vintage. I kept thinking he's like, especially now, he's like this like a seasoned skillet. He's like a skillet that you've been cooking on for 30, 40 years, and it's got all the flavor, you know, into it that it's just dirty and grimy, but the food tastes so good when it comes off it. That's what he reminds me of. Like your favorite old, dirty, crusty t-shirt. I don't mean crusty, but your old, dirty, worn out t-shirt that you love. That's your favorite t-shirt. That's what he reminds me of. I've never seen him. He finally came around. He's doing 2 nights at the Wynn, the Encore. I've said it in every single one of my reviews. The best place, I think, to see anybody. And I don't know who does the booking at the Encore, but they do a fantastic job. They really go for a certain artist that's got a catalog of hits. And that's what Mellencamp was. Now, I'm going to go through the set list. I want to start by saying, because I have some thoughts about this. This is not going to be a great job, great show, blah, blah, blah. It was a great show. I enjoyed it tremendously. I thought, you know, I don't know what to expect of him because I think he's 70 or 71. You know, these guys are getting older. I don't know if they could still rock out. He's been a smoker his whole life. I had no idea how his voice would sound. I didn't really know anything, which, you know, it makes it a little exciting going in, but at the same time, a little scary. So, let me go. I'm going to start with his looks. You know, like I said, looks became a part of his career just the way it is. I actually feel for a lot of these artists, the pressure that they must have as they get older and how they look. I thought he looked great. My only thing was I think he's been hitting that Botox a little too hard where his face looks different. His hair looks good. He's in good shape for his age. He moved around a lot. He's stylish. You know, he was wearing a suit and white t-shirt and the jacket came off. You know, he's just a cool looking motherfucker. He's always been. He was smoking the whole show, which, you know, is terrible for you, but fuck, let's face it. Smoking's cool. That's why everybody started smoking back in the day. It was just you just look cool. So here's this guy, 71 years old, you know, with a guitar, a cigarette, you know, he just looked good. He looked good, but I would lay off. John, if you're listening to this, lay off the Botox. You don't need it anymore. You look good. You're a good-looking guy. So I'm going to get into the set list. And as I get to it, I'm going to start with the complaints that I had. So I thought it was really weird. He started with this half an hour long montage of old movies before he came. So while you're walking into the theater, it was like cuts, like Misfits, Grapes of Wrath, On the Waterfront, Streetcar Named Desire, those kinds of really classic movies. He was showing probably 5, maybe 10-minute clips of some of these movies and classic scenes. I mean, the classic scenes from Streetcar Named Desire and On the Water. I didn't get it. I didn't. I mean, it's cool to see. They're great movies, but I felt the crowd was booing. The crowd just wanted him on stage. Some of the scenes, although were legendary, are a little sleepy. I mean, you're walking in there excited, anxiety. This is go. People have paid a lot of money to go see him, and you're sitting down watching like a slow black and white movie. Now, in between each clip, John would pop up, and he not live in the video, and he would tell a story of why he related to James Dean and why he loved Marlon Brando and stuff like that. And that's great, but every time he came on screen, everybody started cheering, and every time he left the screen and they just played the movie, I heard people booing and stuff. So I don't think you need that. I didn't like it. Anyway, getting into the set list. So it was kind of broken into 3 different parts. And I'll be honest, so I'm just going to say it out. So there were 4 songs that I can, and I'm sure I'm missing some off the top of my head that he didn't play. And I have a really big gripe when people don't play some of their biggest songs. He did not play ROCK in the USA, which I was shocked about. He did not play Authority song, which I think that's one of my favorite songs by him. It's such a good song. It's such a good rock and roll song. I don't know why he didn't play that. And then he didn't play I Need a Lover, which I know was his original song. And he didn't play Wild Nights, which I know is a cover of Van Morrison, but was a big hit for him. Don't know why. And now when I get into the set list now, you'll see why it's a little annoying. So the first leg, I don't know. It starts with John Cocker. Then he does Paper and Fire, which is a great, great song. Great Mellencamp song. Minutes to Memories, Small Town, also classic song. So he's getting going. Then I found that there was this big gap. The next, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 songs. They weren't popular songs. Some of them were newer. Some of them were. The crowd didn't move. The crowd was sitting there bored. I can feel it. They were just bored. And I know my thoughts aren't crazy because when I left and we were walking out of the theater, I was listening to the couple in front of me talking, and they had the exact same thought. The first half of the show, they were like, oh, no. It was good. It just wasn't anything exceptional, probably because most people, like the thread throughout the show that I saw where every time he played a hit, people got up, they danced, they were happy, they were taking pictures and videos and singing along. And then when they played a song that wasn't a hit, they sat down. Look, John has every right to play songs that people don't know. You can do that all day long, but you got to play all your hits. And if you're not going to play all your hits, you got to make sure that there are some hits in your set list that keep people going. So let's see. Minutes to Minutes, Small Town. Then he did Hey God, Human Wheels, Don't Need This Body, which again, that was like a sad song about getting older. Jackie Brown, Check It Out. So he didn't really talk much at this point. He didn't really talk that much in the microphone in between. And I was starting to say, oh shit, this show might not be as good as I was hoping it would be. And then he did a 3 or 4 song acoustic set. So this is like kind of the second leg. This is where things got a lot better. This is where the show started to turn. Because now it became story time for the next 2 or 3 songs. He was telling stories about this homeless girl that he met. He sang this song called The Eyes of Portland, which was fantastic. I don't think he said, I don't think it's on a record or anything. It's just a song about a homeless girl that he met in Portland. Longest Days, great song. And Jack and Diane, of course, which he did as an acoustic solo. Interesting about that. First off, The Longest Days, again, he told another story. This felt better. This was like story time. He was telling stories and then singing just him and his acoustic guitar, and it was awesome. Jack and Diane kind of fucking sucks because I love that song. He messed up on the guitars right away, but he fixed that right away. It wasn't a big deal. And then it became a big sing-along song. And he mentioned at one point he doesn't like when people sing along and he doesn't like when people shout out during quiet parts, which I thought was a weird thing to say to a crowd. But the people were singing along Jack and Diane, and they fucked up like the second verse. They skipped the second verse and started going right to the chorus, and he had to stop and kind of yell at everybody. Not yell, but tell people, like, what are you doing? You missed the second verse. I wrote this shit. And it's probably why he probably hates people singing along, because they fuck up sometimes. But it's still Jack and Diane. It's still a hell of a song, and it's cool to hear it acoustic. Then he did I Always Lie to Strangers. And then he did this weird thing. I don't know. I kind of went to the bathroom and I came back and I didn't really hear the premise of where it came from. Something called The Real Life, which I don't know. I think it's a Mellencamp song or it's a poem. I'm not sure. I haven't get a chance to look it up. And he had Joanne Woodward do like spoken word over the audio. And he had his violin player playing along with it. And it was nice and it was cool. And here's my problem. That stuff is awesome if you're playing all your fucking hits. I would rather hear Authority song than that. I would rather hear ROCK in the USA than that. That's where these things start to bother me. Then he did Rain on the Scarecrow, awesome. Lonely Old Night, awesome. This is where the show started getting much better because he was getting into all these hits. Now everybody was on their feet. Crumbling Down. Then he did a mashup with Gloria, then back to Crumbling Down. Pink Houses, he did a pretty acoustic, which was that was acoustic. It was slower a little bit, but it was just, I think it might have been the best song of the night. It was so good. Then this is the part of my house. So he had everybody. The crowd was up. The crowd was finally excited. People were rocking and rolling. And then he stopped. And I had this problem. I did a review for Boy George with the same problem. You know, you're getting now towards the end of the show. You're in the monster hits. And then you throw this wild card in the middle that everybody just stops. Excuse me. Everybody was all excited. They're pumped up. They're dancing. The show's great. And then you throw a wild card in towards the end, and everybody says, "Oh, fuck this," and sits down. He did a song called Chasing Rainbows. He's like, "I want to teach you a song. You guys can sing along." Everybody sat down. All the fucking momentum was gone. I don't understand. If he took out that fucking Chasing Rainbows and put an ROCK in the USA or Wild Nights or Authority song right there, those last 6-7 songs of the show would have been boom, 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 boom. It would have been an incredible close. Would have been a liftoff of a plane. But he slowed it down with Chasing Rainbows, and I just don't understand the choices that were made there. I don't know. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. I'm just telling you as a fan, hearing what I felt and hearing what people were walking out. After Chasing Rainbows, he got back on track. He did Cherry Bomb, and then he closed out with Hurt So Good. So it was a great, great show. I would highly recommend it. The guy is a fucking treasure. He is just an icon of rock and roll music. He's an American icon. He's a down-to-earth, salt-of-the-earth guy. He's a fucking cool motherfucker. That's the best way to describe him. He's a cool motherfucker, a talented-ass cool motherfucker. I really like the show. I'm going to give it an even 9 out of 10. It was really good. I think it could have been exceptional if he swapped out some of those songs with some of his bigger hits and made it a greatest hits show, which I believe every show should be. People pay a lot of money. They want to see all the hits. You should give it to them. That's what they want. You can throw some stuff in there, but that's just my opinion. I'm going to add real quickly. This is getting long. I apologize. Tickets, how much I spent and this and that, because I've been trying to add it to these reviews, given the fact that tickets are becoming a really big part of going to a show. So on This Is the Rare Occasion, I wanted to see him so bad because I've never seen him. I actually got tickets when the pre-sale came on, and they were cheap. They were like $125 each, which was awesome. So I didn't know which night I wanted to go, so I bought 2 for the Friday night show, and I bought 2 for the Saturday night show, knowing I won't have any problem flipping these tickets later on, because I know he's going to sell out those 2 nights. I ended up selling the 2 for Saturday night for I don't know what it was, but I made like an extra $400, which more than paid for the first night. So it's a little trick I do sometimes. I'll buy 2 nights for shows that I know will sell the second ones to make up. And so it's basically a free night out, and it didn't matter. That show's worth a couple $100 a ticket without a question, maybe even more, especially in that room. Thanks for listening. I know this one got a little long. I really enjoyed it. I don't want my negative comments to be, I'm sure the diehard fans will give me shit. I don't want to hear Authority song, or I don't want to, that's sold out garbage. Bullshit. That's bullshit. Those songs are fantastic, and they're popular for a reason. They're great, great, great rock and roll songs by a great, great, great rock and roll artist. He should have played them all. The 9 might be even a little generous. That's my nostalgia kicking in. It might be more of a high 8 because he should lose a few points for not playing that stuff. But anyway, go see him if you can. Subscribe. Leave some comments if you were there, if you agree, if you disagree. If you disagree, don't be a prick. Just tell me you disagree. And I'll see you at the next show. Bye-bye.